Hello, thank you for joining me on my video today. I thought that today I'd do something a little bit different. I've been doing lots and lots of work with acrylic paint and collage, and I wanted to do a little bit of watercolour and mixed media in a more abstracty way. Now, there's a couple of channels I follow on YouTube, and one of them is Sketches and Scrubs, and she was the person who I first saw this Khadi Fat Book sketchbook on, and I really love it. I think it's one of those books you're probably either going to love or hate. It's very textured, 100% cotton, rag paper. It's only 100 GSM, but you get so much in it. So for the money, it's really good value. So if you want to experiment, if you want to play around with different mediums, it's a really good one for doing that in. So I do follow her, and so that's where I got the idea for this book from. Well, not the idea, I've got shown this book. I've got this one. I've also actually, I did buy a second one, which I haven't started yet, but I wanted to have a spare one on ready. And I also like to watch Denise Love, who does a lot of abstract watercolour, mixed media, acrylic sort of based art journaling in mostly when I watch her. I will link both of those channels down in the description box so you can pop along and have a look at those too. And if while you're around that area you want to give this video a like or a comment, or you haven't already subscribed, that would be fabulous as well, because it all helps my channel to grow. I'm going to be doing something a bit abstracty. So I have got some tape. Now this is blue Scotch tape, and if I give you a sort of flick through of some of the sorts of things I've done in here, or what some of these I think I have got videos. Oh, I do swatching in here, but I also then have done some abstracty. So this is what I mean by sort of playing around. I was playing around with inks and things like that. I think this one I've got a video for, so I'll link this one at the end of the video. So if you want to see that one, me just really having a play with shape, with colour, with different paints, bit of collage on there, bit of collage on that one. So I do just use it as a sort of playing around kind of journal. It's just, you know, for me to have some fun. And recently, actually, I also did this one recently, so maybe I'll link this one. I'll link this video in the description, not in the description box, in the bit at the end where it gives you an option of another video. So I'm going to find, what did I do recently? Oh, I did that one recently. That was all done. That's me just sort of using stencils and then doing my own patterns and things, which I really enjoyed. So I thought I would do, though, I want sort of some cleanish pages, a double page sort of abstracty artwork, so to speak, but I don't want it all on here. I couldn't decide whether I wanted to mask off the edges and have two big squares, or whether I wanted to have multiple squares as a grid. But I'm actually thinking I might just do the edges and have two big squares. But I want to have a good old play. I've got my Gansai Tambi from Kuretake. This is the Art Nouveau set. So I thought I might go with a nice sort of more muted palette for this. Then I've got my Graphitints, I've got my Neo colours, I've got acrylic paints, I've got inks. So I'm thinking I'm just going to do a really abstract sort of couple of pages, and then I might add some collage on the top. So I will just pop off for a second to put my tape down, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have masked off the edges of my pages with my Scotch tape. I have a love-hate relationship with tape, but this is a good one if you're using watery products. I found it's the best one that I've got that doesn't allow seepage or much seepage. However, the thing with all tapes is, you know, you always get that problem with taking them off. So I'm going to try to be really good today and let my layers dry completely. And you can always sort of heat with your heat tool to sort of loosen the gum a little bit. I do use different tapes for different things. So if I'm doing things with inking, I find I use like a more of a repositionable tape. It's works better. But for watercolor, I do like this blue Scotch tape. Now I've got my water. I have got my big quill brush from Artway. So I thought that'd be nice to get some nice big expressive strokes, because I want this to be sort of like a playtime, an experimentation, of just letting it all flow free. So I am going to spritz some water on here first, because I want to get a bit of movement going. I'm deciding whether I want to go with a colour family and sort of just stick with, you know, harmonious colours, rather than sort of risking sort of making a lot of a mess. I think I will go with harmonious colours just for this initial layer, because I can always add different colours in with my other medium. So I think let's go with a cooler sort of palette. So I've got these sort of blues and greens down here. I'm thinking that could be my theme for the base. Now I'm just trying to get the lid. I put it in the lid, and I realize that's where I've got my swatches that I put into the lid, which is quite handy. So I am going to put that to the side of me. What I like about these Gansai Tambi paints is you do get a nice big pan to sort of be able to get a big brush in. Now this one is cobalt turquoise light, so you don't, and they are, there's a little bit of movement there. So let's put that one there. Let's just, I'm not really overthinking this. I just want to get some colour down. That's my aim. So let's go with this one, which is Pal Aqua. I could have spritzed, you know, a bit on there first. Paint on that one. I do find these are very different to sort of Western sort of watercolors. They are a different sort of way of doing watercolor, and my water will get very sort of murky quite quickly. Now this one is cobalt green. So this is the Art Nouveau palette, so it's a bit more sort of almost vintagey, I guess. Would you call it? I'm not sure. I don't know why I've gone back in with that there. And like I say, I'm not thinking, I'm just putting the colour down. I'm just putting it wherever I feel at that moment in time. Billiard green. A little couple of ones of that. I might go back and put some more blue in. If I've dripped, I don't mind. Oh, I quite like the drips. Oh, it's gone all over there a little bit. It's going to be a lot of water, so it is going to require some drying time. This, I do want to let this dry naturally. So this is shadow. I love this one. Shadow green. Let's do a bit more in there. There, go across. Let's do some marks as well as we're going. Maybe do some. Have a little play around, see what becomes. And then we've got this lovely pea green. Much of a brighter green. So I've gone more, it's ended up more green than it has blue, hasn't it? I think I'm going to add a bit more blue into it. I've got this blue here, actually, greyish blue. Let's maybe put a bit of that in. This is a really nice way of, if you want to try stuff out, or if you just want, you're not quite sure, maybe you're a bit stuck and you want to just, you know, get out of your own head sometimes when you're creating. Just, you know, you're not having to think too much, just put in those colours. And now I think I want, maybe I'm going to go for a bit of this, or maybe the green gold, because I feel like I need a little bit of light amongst the dark there, and in here as well. So I think I've covered up a lot of that blue. Let's go back into that original blue and get a bit more of that in there. Oops, don't worry if I sort of get some in there, it will come out if I do down here. There. So that is quite random, but we're going to just go with the flow and we're going to add layer upon layer to make different sort of marks and things in this. So I will now leave that to dry. Okay, so I've left the pages for about probably an hour and a half, and I really love how it has sort of bloomed together and sort of blended and really changed from how I left it. And it's taught me that I really do need to do a bit more of just leaving things to dry on their own. But I want to add some marks over the top. So a while ago I bought the Graphitint XL blocks, and I do believe there is something on the channel, a video with them. But I have since took out the main packaging within this tin and decided to make it a lot more of a useful tin, because just these with all the sort of the stuff around them was just taking up too much space within the tin. I thought it'd be nicer to put all my bits together. So I've got some willow charcoal there. I've got my Lyra water soluble graphite, I think it's 6B. I've got my Inktense blocks, and then I've got the Graphitints, and then I've got some of the I think these are just the smaller graphite blocks as well, just like the grey graphite. So I'm just deciding, I think I want colour, because I do love how these colours are on here. I don't want to make it too grey. Now these are all water soluble. I think I'm going to go with the Graphitints because I haven't used them very much. So I'm going to go with the dark Prussian and the, I think it's olive green. So I'm going to just put some marks sort of like that on it. I just want to just do some mark making on here. I don't want to do anything too fancy or too planned. I want to stick with that really sort of abstract and free-flowing vibe. So let's do some circles, some lines, some coming in off there. I don't want to sort of cover up what I've done. Now these are water soluble, so I'm going to add some water to them, just to I like it when you add the water, it sort of intensifies them. I'll do this one here, stick to this colour because this is the background, and then once this is dried, I think we'll get maybe we might get some stenciling going on. I'm not sure. Water all of this out so that there we go, and leave that like that to dry. So they the Graphitints are now dry, well, ish. So I thought I needed a little bit of extra detail on the top. So I have got this stencil that I actually made I used some older Tim Holtz mixed media dies. I'm not even sure if they're still available. You've got 4 dies in the set, so I've just die cut 3 of them into this stencil sort of, it's Mylar. You can get it online anywhere. And I thought that we would have a little bit of this pattern and this pattern. And I picked out some white and some gold paint because I thought that would look nice. We'll start with the gold. I think I'm going to do like this, almost the sequin waist in the gold. And I've got a couple of sponges. These are really cheap. Sort of, they come in a pack of 6. I think they might have done from a fairly cheapish shop. Let's put a bit of gold down there. I'll move that this way a bit, you can see that a bit better. And let's dip that in. I often use a stencil brush, but sometimes I find it's a bit quicker and easier to use a sponge. So that just, especially in something like this where I'm not too worried about, getting a perfect finish. But I'm just, again, I am just putting it where I feel that I want it. There's not an overly a plan. I do tend to go for blocks of 3 of things because I always think that looks nice. Let's get there, and let's have some over here. I don't want to put any more paint down. I want to use what is there and not have to get any more out. I do with when I'm putting out acrylics, I do limit what I put down because if you've got a load left over, you can't really be putting it back into the tube, so it's easier to put less down and then put more out if you need it than the other way around. So there's some gold around there, so put that one aside, and let's get some white. So these are from, if you're in the UK, you will know Hobbycraft. It is a big sort of chain craft store. I think these were not very highly expensive acrylic paints, so they're sort of ideal for this sort of sketchbook abstractness. Let's have a look. Where should we go? Let's go here. I start off often by sort of dabbing and then sometimes go into like more of a swirl or sort of rub it just to get the last bits of paint off. It's giving me sort of landscape vibes in that background, really, which I suppose it would do, wouldn't it, being green and blue, but it wasn't the intent, but that's how it's worked out. So I'm going 3 again just because it always seems to work for me. I do always like it when you sort of got the groups of 3. I do sometimes also tend to leave certain areas that are a bit more open spaced. I like that look. And I'm taking it right to where the masking is, so that when that is revealed, it should give it a lovely sort of clean edge, which is always a really nice look. I'm running out of white paint, so let's just do one last little bit here. We'll use what's on the stencil like that. I feel like I want maybe just to do that. There we go, a bit more there. I think that will do for the stenciling. So again, I will allow that to dry, and then I think I'm going to come in with a bit of stamping. Okay, so the acrylics dry really quickly. So in the time it took me to clean off the table and clean the stencil, they are more or less dry. But now I think I need a bit more dark detail. So I'm going to go with this stamp set. This is Make a Mark. This is a stamp set I designed for Clever Prints, and I will link all these products in the description box. I have used it a few times before, and because I'm going on to paint and watercolour and Graphitints, I'm going to use Archival inks because they are a permanent ink and they go over lots of different surfaces. And I'm going to, I think, to start with, go with similar background colours. So I'm going to go with Peeled Paint, Faded Jeans, maybe Evergreen Bough. So we'll go with some more subtle colours, and then I might add in a pop of maybe black. I'm not sure. So we'll have a look. So these are stamps that are textures that I created I made the textures myself using household objects, and then they were made into a stamp set for me. So I'm going to start with this sort of more gentle honeycomb type shape, and we'll go with, I think, the Peeled Paint. The Peeled Paint I sometimes find is a little bit of a struggle, so it will be quite light in the background, hopefully. Probably can't really darken it. Oh no, it's really light. So let's just put a few bits, maybe put it across the lighter colours. I find if you sort of think about where you're putting that stuff, so I can now see that. Hopefully you can see a bit of that, but it's just to add a little bit into the background. It's not, I'm not trying to be too obvious with this. It's just to be quite subtle, and it's still going with that sort of abstract look. I feel like I want maybe one more bit over this side. Let's go here so that can that bit. we'll take that one off. Let's go with the bubble wrap type look, and we'll go for the Evergreen Bough. And we'll see if this, I find this one, even though you would think it would be a lighter colour, actually usually stands out a lot more, which it does. Let's go to this corner again, over onto that edge, so that when those pieces of tape get removed, that will really show nicely. I'm not worried. I'm going on top of the darker colours as well as lighter colours. I just want a bit of sort of texture. There. Struggling a bit in the middle bit because of the way I'm trying to stamp into a book, but because it's in this sketchbook, it doesn't matter. And then let's go with something a bit more solid. I'll go with, this is one of my favourites, this circle. I can't even remember how I made that stamp. It was probably some kind of lid or at top of something. And this is with the faded jeans. So let's... all my archival minis are sort of so well used. I think they are starting to fade a little bit, to be honest. So that one didn't show up very well because I was going right in the middle of the book again. Let's have there. Show, yeah. Sometimes I would then sort of go back in and paint in the middle of these, but I think I'm going to leave it as it is this time. So hopefully that circle in the blue is now sort of matching that circle, and that wasn't overly intentional, but I think sometimes you sort of get, it's in your head and you're seeing what's on the page, and you sometimes you don't even realise that you're doing things a certain way. You know, you are actually being influenced by what's already on the page. But by starting off with that really sort of abstract paint, it then gives you a jumping off point. So initially I didn't know this is what I was going to be, you know, creating, but that's how it's turned out now. I want some lines because I have got lines within here, I think. So I'm going to go with my black. So black archival. Now, let's see, I've decided, I think I'm going to go along the lines to go with the lines a little bit here. Yeah. So where I can see a line, well, there's lots of lines, but I'm sort of trying to just go with it, not fight it. So use what's already on the page to sort of extend the ideas. That one there. Go here. And I think along here, I think that would do. Do you know what I think? That's enough for the background. I could, once I've took the tape off, leave this just as abstract pages, or I can add something like a focal point on with some collage or some stamped images. Now, do I need to? Let's have a little look, see how easily this is going to come off. Now it comes off of here. I sort of pull it close. It is pulling it slightly, but it's not too bad. It's not sticking too much. It's a little bit, but like I say, it's in this journal, so I'm not too worried. Let's go along here. So I pull it really close to here. I could have, I think I actually might just go over this with my heat tool, just to heat that up a little bit. Hopefully that might just help that to, I think it's still going to stick. It's a very rough textured sort of cotton paper, so it will, it is going to tear a little bit. So let's just go with the tearing. If it tears, it tears. I'm sort of looking to see where I went I should have sort of really thought about it maybe a bit more when I was sticking it down as to which was on top. Oop. Which is on top here? I think this one's on top. Let's go with this one. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Oh, I folded it all the way around, that's why. Oh, that's really teary. There we go, nice clean edge. Oh, I am liking that. You know what, I don't think I do need to put anything else on here. I feel like I am going to leave it like this, so I will sort of give a little. Just having that masking, just when you take that off, really sort of sets off your design. And I could have done it into smaller blocks, you know, so it's, and if you're stuck and you're thinking, I don't know, I want to do something, but I don't know what I want to create, you know, put some tape down, just throw some different mediums at things, let them dry, build up your layers, and then just take your tape off and see what you have. And if you're happy with how it is, which I am with that, then just leave it at that. So thank you ever so much for watching today. I will link those channels down in my description box, as well as the products used. I will list them. I will link some where I can. Some things are probably no longer available. I don't think the dyes that I use to make the stencils are available. If I can find them, I'll link them, but it's always worth doing your own sort of search for those things. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to, please, I would love for you to join me by subscribing. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, because all of that interaction really helps YouTube to know that my videos are worth people watching, and that they will then help, hopefully, to promote them a little bit more. So I thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.